Welcome to The Explainer. We spend all day clicking, swiping, and streaming, but have you ever stopped to think about what's really making all that happen? Today, we're diving into the massive engines that power our online world and, well, why they're getting so incredibly expensive to run.
So think about it. Every single search, every video you stream, every tap on your phone, it connects to this huge, invisible infrastructure. But here's the thing, it's not magic. It's very physical, it's incredibly powerful, and as we're about to see, it comes with a real and rapidly growing price tag. And right at the heart of all this are, you guessed it, data centers. Now, you can think of them as these humming high-tech brains of the entire internet. They are the absolute backbone of modern business, and let's be honest, our daily digital lives. The problem? As our hunger for data just explodes, running these engines is creating a kind of perfect storm of rising costs.
Right, so it's not like there's just one culprit here making data centers so pricey. It's really a convergence of three big challenges, all hitting at the exact same time.
Okay, first up, and this is a big one, soaring energy demands. Just think about what it takes to power modern AI or stream 4K video, not to mention the billions of connected devices out there. All of that data crunching needs a massive amount of electricity, which means power consumption and the bills that come with it are just climbing and climbing.
Now this is where it gets really interesting. Where does all that energy actually go? So yeah, the servers themselves use the most, but look at this. A staggering 40% of the entire energy bill can go towards cooling alone, just to keep the hardware from overheating. Try to imagine air conditioning a giant warehouse packed with thousands of ovens all running at full blast. I mean, that's the scale of the challenge we're talking about. It's a truly monumental expense.
Okay, the second driver? The relentless pace of technology. You know how quickly your own smartphone starts to feel a little obsolete? Well, in a data center, that cycle is even faster and way more expensive. To keep up with performance and security demands, these organizations are basically locked into this constant multi-million-dollar treadmill of replacing hardware every few years. And third, you've got the human element. You can't just set up a data center and forget about it. These are complex facilities that need teams of highly skilled and highly paid specialists. You're talking network engineers, security experts, systems admins, all working 24/7 just to keep our digital world online. And believe me, that level of expertise does not come cheap.
And just to put that human cost into perspective for you, when you add up the salaries, the benefits, the constant need for training, staffing alone can eat up 20% of the entire data center budget. It's this huge and frankly often overlooked part of the operational cost. All right, so with costs going up across the board, what can be done? How are organizations actually fighting back? Well, they're turning to some really smart strategies and new technologies to try and get these expenses back under control.
One of the key strategies is something called virtualization. The best way to think about it is like this. Imagine you have several big single-family mansions, but only one or two rooms in each are actually being used. Virtualization is like consolidating everybody into one super efficient, fully occupied apartment building. You just get way more out of the hardware you already have. And that means buying less, using less power, and taking up less physical space.
Another really popular route is, well, to just not build your own data center in the first place. By outsourcing to what's called a co-location facility, a company can skip the massive upfront cost and all the operational headaches. Instead, they just pay a predictable monthly fee. They get access to expert staff, top-tier infrastructure, and they can scale their space up or down whenever they need to. It's all about flexibility.
And of course, we have to talk about automation. By using smart software, orchestration tools to handle all the routine stuff like setting up resources or balancing workloads, you can seriously cut down on the chance of human error. It makes sure your hardware is always being used in the best way possible, and it frees up your expensive human experts to focus on more strategic, high-value work. But, controlling costs isn't just about the servers and the software. Optimizing the actual physical building that houses all this tech is just as critical for driving efficiency.
Yeah, This means you have to take a really holistic view of the building's design. We're talking about everything from a modular architecture that can grow with the business to really clever layouts like hot and cold aisle containment. And that's a pretty simple but brilliant idea. You just arrange the server racks to physically separate the hot exhaust air from the cool intake air. It sounds basic, but it can drastically slash the amount of energy you need for cooling. Effective planning is also completely non-negotiable. The top operators are constantly, and I mean constantly, tracking metrics just like these. They're aiming for really high server utilization, basically getting the most bang for their buck from every single machine. And they're forecasting their needs at least 6 months ahead. That way they avoid overspending or, even worse, getting caught off guard by growth. So where is this all going? When we look to the future, the evolution of the data center is really being shaped by two powerful and actually interconnected trends. The first is a huge push toward sustainability. I mean, with energy being such a massive cost, there's a really powerful financial incentive, on top of the environmental one, to shift over to renewable sources. So integrating things like solar, wind, and other green energies helps cut down on both the operational costs and the facility's carbon footprint. And the second major trend? It's the rise of AI-driven optimization. As this quote here points out, the smartest data centers are now starting to use artificial intelligence to basically manage themselves. We're talking about predicting hardware failures before they even happen, dynamically shifting workloads around for maximum efficiency, and just constantly fine-tuning the whole facility for peak performance. It's pretty amazing stuff. So when you boil it all down, running an efficient, cost-effective data center, it isn't about a single project. It's not a one-time fix. The real solution is actually cultural. It requires a mindset of continuous improvement, always analyzing, always adapting, and always optimizing every single part of the operation.
And that really leaves us with a final, provocative thought. As our reliance on these digital engines just continues to grow exponentially, the great challenge ahead of us is going to be this. How do we meet that insane demand for power while making sure the very foundation it's built on is truly sustainable? That's a question we'll all have a hand in answering. Thanks for joining us on The Explainer.